ישבה ודד, העיר רבת ים, הייתה כאלמנה, רבת היא בגויים, שרות היא במדינות, הייתה למס. Alas, lonely sits the city, once great with people. She that was great among nations is become like a widow. The princess among states is become a thrall. So begins the book of Lamentations, Eicha, which we read while fasting and sitting on the floor on a holy day called Tisha B'Av, the 9th day of the Hebrew month of Av. This day always falls during the summer, when our minds tend to be on other things. It is the day on the Jewish calendar that marks many tragic events in Jewish history: the destruction of the first and second temples, the expulsion of the Jews from England, France, Spain, even the mass deportation of Jews from the Warsaw Ghetto in 1942. It is the saddest day on the Jewish calendar. The book of Lamentation recounts the prophet Jeremiah's violent and harrowing eyewitness account of the destruction of the first temple by the Babylonians. Just this past Wednesday evening, we hosted an event put together by the Israeli Consulate and the Houston Jewish Federation to hear stories of families of the Israeli hostages. Before the event began, I walked into this sanctuary to find most of the seats in these side sections filled with 240 red balloons, one at each seat with photographs and information about the hostages taped to each chair. It was a shocking sight. Even though I have seen similar photos of empty tables set, chairs on front lawns of synagogues, somehow seeing it here in our own bearish sanctuary felt different. It took my breath away. Family members of some of the hostages told their own violent and harrowing eyewitness accounts, horrors they had experienced, and about the loved ones they pray will come back to them. It's hard to even find the words to say how it felt to hear those stories. It's impossible to imagine what it was like to have those terrifying experiences. We are in dark times. Some of the words of the Hashkivenu we prayed just moments ago feel very relevant. Defend us against our enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. We are in a pit of despair. In our Torah portion this week, Rebecca, suffering during her pregnancy with Esau and Jacob, cries out, Im kain lama ze anochi? If this is so, why do I exist? Medieval commentator Nachmanides suggests that Rebecca is asking, what good is life if I have to suffer like this? We sympathize with Rebecca's suffering and ask ourselves, what keeps us going in times of darkness? We as Jews have been responding to these challenging times by making music. In our solidarity gathering right after October 7th, the Cantors of Houston gathered together to lead the Jewish community in song. Am Yisrael Chai, we sang. We have been embracing old songs, and some cantors and Jewish singer-songwriters have been writing new music. One piece is by a recently ordained cantor, Becky Mann, who is actually coming to sing a concert with me right here next April. She heard a teaching that the blessing we recite before reading the book of Lamentations goes like this. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher asanu asirei tikva. We praise you, O God, sovereign of the universe, who has made us captives of hope. I think this idea of God making us captives of hope before reading the saddest book in our literature is powerful. These words, asirei tikva, captives of hope, originate in the book of the prophet Zechariah, who was writing in the time after the first temple was destroyed. What we can only imagine was a time of deep despair as the Israelites were in exile, having lost all they had ever known. And it was an innovation of Reform Judaism to take this phrase and create this beautiful blessing in a book that I learned today happened to be partly edited by Dr. Yechiel Hayon, Rabbi Hayon's father. To be a captive of hope means that hope is strong and stubborn, not allowing us to let go. A poem by Yehuda Amichai that portrays this same idea. A night drive to Ein Yachav in the Arava desert, a drive in the rain, yes, in the rain. There I met people who grew date palms. There I saw tamarisk trees and risk trees. There saw hope barbed as barbed wire. And I said to myself, that's true. Hope needs to be like barbed wire to keep out despair. Hope must be a minefield. Hope is an essential part of being Jewish. Echoing Amichai's poem, Rabbi Jonathan Sachs writes, "To be a Jew is to be an agent of hope in a world serially threatened by despair. Every ritual, every mitzvah, every syllable of the Jewish story, every element of Jewish law is a protest against escapism, resignation, or the blind acceptance of fate. Judaism is a sustained struggle, the greatest ever known, against the world that is, in the name of the world that could be, should be, but is not yet. There is no more challenging vocation. Throughout history, when human beings have sought hope, they have found it in the Jewish story. Judaism is the religion, and Israel the home of hope." As we enter the Hebrew month of Kislev, I'm reminded of a story of Jewish hope by Holocaust survivor and author Elie Wiesel. He once saw a fellow prisoner trading a ration of bread for materials which he was going to use to piece together a makeshift menorah during Hanukkah. Wiesel was shocked that the man would trade something so essential to his survival and asked him, "Hanukkah in Auschwitz?" And the man replied, "Especially in Auschwitz." So too in our Torah portion, God helps Rebekah to find hope in her despair. When Rebekah is struggling with her pregnancy and cries out, "If this is so, why do I exist?" God answers her call by telling her of the two nations that are in her womb. From darkness will come abundance, as she will give birth to Esau and Jacob. As civil rights and Sikh faith leader Valerie Kaur writes, "In our tears and agony, we hold our children close and confront the truth. The future is dark. But my faith dares me to ask, what if this darkness is not the darkness of the tomb, but the darkness of the womb?" What lies on the other side of this darkness? What will be birthed from this struggle? Even as darkness surrounds us, let us continue to embrace being captives of hope, to live Jewish lives in all the ways we know how. Let us light our Chanukias. Let us be a light unto the world. Let us hold onto hope like a red balloon over our heads. I want to share with you Captives of Hope by Becky Mann. Baruch atah Adonai, asher asanu asirei tikva, Baruch atah Adonai, asher asanu asirei tikva, Baruch atah Adonai, asher asanu asirei tikva, Baruch atah Adonai, asher asanu asirei tikva. Blessed are you, God. Blessed are you, God, who makes us captives of hope, oh, captives of hope. Asher asanu asirei tikva. Blessed are you, God. Blessed are you, God, who makes us captives of hope, oh, captives of hope. Asher asanu asirei tikva, asher asanu asirei tikva. Shabbat shalom.